And welcome to Destination Uri here this evening when, I have to say, I'm just absolutely ecstatic. We have Joe Sheridan from Meath here in the studio with us. Joe, you're very welcome to Destination Uri.
Thank you. And
we have Ryan Cinnamon here, and Ryan was saying, he was just telling Joe about his legs, but we'll come on to that story as we go on. Joe Sheridan, a legend in GAA, in Meath and Leinster, and of course all over the place. Great fella. Brilliant to have him on board here this evening. Joe, I know Joe come down the road and he got caught up in the Jedward concert. So he made his way through the Jedward thing to Destination Uri, and we're very appreciative of Joe. It's great to have you here this evening. Creating a little bit of history, I think the first Meath man to be on Destination Uri, the first Meath GAA footballer to be interviewed live here in the studio, and we really appreciate you coming down here. So it's going to be, we're going to have a great hour of crack and banter here, and of course Ryan, you're very welcome to Destination Uri. You're a good friend of ours. Last night up in Shin O'Neill's we had the big charity match where the two teams played in maybe not so much in a charitable way, but a great game of football, and I think the Calcruppen boys won the game by a point actually, because when the boys looked at the game, the score showed the Calcruppen won by a point. But it wasn't about winning last night, Ryan. It was about raising money for yourself, and of course your new legs here, and you were just telling us the price of these.
Yeah, 30,000 for each leg, so 60,000 for both of them.
There we go, 60,000 for Ryan's legs. Joe, what can we say? You know, a young fella starting out in life, he has a lot to do, but he's come through a hard time, and just to have the two of you sitting on the one couch here this evening, it's great.
Well, it's great to be here, and it's you know, it just puts into perspective. You know, young Ryan here, he's lost his two legs, and you know, we sort of take it for granted every time you go out to play football. You know, it's great to see him coming back, and you know, hopefully things. You know, the charity game last night went very well, and you know, only you can move forward from here now. You know, it's great to see you up and moving, and you know, best wishes for the future.
Yeah, thanks.
There we go, Ryan. What can we say?
Yeah.
You didn't realise today that you'd be sitting in the sofa here, because you know, we love to spring surprises on people here on the Sunday Sports Show. Of course, Simon's coming from England this evening, and he actually couldn't be here, so he's missing the crack tonight. But anyway, we're not worrying about that. Joe Sheridan comes from Meath. We're going to talk all about Joe and the whole story about Joe and his Gaelic, and you know, he went to England and he came back and he played for Meath. He went to Boston and he came back and all that. So, but first of all, Ryan, you're involved. Your own family's steeped in the local sport. Your dad loves the soccer, and we had a good chat last night about Newry City. And it's so sad to see the demise of Newry City, the senior soccer club here, and because of some, I suppose, banter between the former chairman and the former manager, things just didn't go the way they're supposed to, and Newry City is now gone. They've been liquidated, to call it, you know, and it's a nightmare, and it's so sad for local soccer here, senior soccer in the town. But we'll talk about that some other night, Ryan. The local soccer results coming up this week. There was a couple of great games on at the weekend, and of course the Bestwick Cup was on, and I believe Windmill is playing Orchard in the Bestwick Cup final. What's your call on that one?
No, it'll be a good game. Orchard just coming together this year and getting in the Bestwick Cup finals. Joe, great for the start, but then again, Windmill are a strong team too. I think it'd be a hard game to call.
It'll be a hard one to call, and of course, as we get closer to Christmas, hopefully we'll maybe do a sort of up for the cup with the two teams. Now that would be good fun. I think, Dara, we might have the local soccer results there. Can we pull them up? No, we'll get them up after. They should be along the ticker bar at the bottom of your screen anyway, if not, but we'll get them up. But hopefully, that's a good one. We could maybe possibly do a good cup final for that one. You know, something like Joe, you know, up for the for the final. Although I have to say, I think it's a wee bit dated the way they do it, you know. But I suppose if you're in the All Ireland final, it would be great to be involved in it.
Exactly.
Like, you know?
Yeah, just being there, you know, and it is a good idea. You know, it gets the people involved, the fans involved and stuff. And it's a great buzz, especially around even the All Ireland final. You know, so it would work for either way. You know.
Joe, the big game today, Kilkenny, of course, and Galway. I know a lot of people was tipping Galway, and from your own point of view, I didn't really care who won today. I admire Kilkenny because I think Brian Cody is an inspirational character. I don't know how he does it. He changes his team round. Like, he brought a young lad in today. He's only like 19, 20 years of age. He scored a goal and 3 points. I don't know where he got him from, but there's only 12 senior hurling clubs in Kilkenny, and Brian Cody has been involved in 9 All-Ireland wins. Henry Shefflin has played in every championship match that Brian Cody has been involved in. And Henry Shefflin today created history because he became the first man ever to win 9 All-Ireland medals as a player on the field of play. I know there was 2 other lads in the squad. They've picked up 9 All-Ireland medals, but there was a couple of games they didn't play in and that. But Henry, like, again, what can you say about Henry Shefflin?
Oh, he's an inspiration. You know, he's such an iconic figure in the GAA world. You know, and it's just sort of, you see Brian Cody, you see Henry Shefflin. You know, it's phenomenal. And the record they have as a team, you know, Henry Shefflin's done a lot, but you see the team, you know, a lot of the lads would have been around as well, Owen Larkin, Jackie Tyrrell, all these lads who are fantastic hurlers. And to be fair to Galway, you know, they've done very well. They were probably unfortunate today, you know, that they probably had the game the last day to probably win the final. And, you know, a lot of people say the favourites, if they get back to a replay, you know, they usually win it. And, you know, you could see Henry Shefflin driving them on today. You know, every time one of the lads done well, he was up patting them on the back. And even the last day, he drove them on, and he was chatting after the game, and he realised how important it was that he had that record of the 9 All-Irelands and on the pitch of play, as you said. And it's phenomenal. I don't think anyone will ever do it again. And, you know, he's a special player. And Kilkenny, they're a special team, and with Brian Cody over them. You know, someone said after the game, I pity the man coming in after Brian Cody because he won't have a leg to stand on because the record he has is unbelievable, and it's great. You know, it's great for GAA, and it's these teams only come around every now and again. They should be put up there, and everyone should, you know, respect them massively.
And there's no doubt. I mean, I suppose when you look at Cody, I know the Leinster final, Kilkenny get tanked by Galway, and then obviously in the All-Ireland final there, you know, they come back and they played really well. Galway had a chance, and then the match ended up a draw. I mean, from my point of view, I was delighted because what it done, it gave us another opportunity to see another cracking game. And I suppose today's game, I mean, and you're a footballer, and we'll talk about this later on. You know, I admire hurlers because it's tough, it's hard, it's uncompromising, and the referees, they tend to let a little bit more go in hurling. And I think, you know, I'm sort of, I get confused and sometimes I get angry about the referee. And it took even the day, the referee, he did blow the whistle before Galway got their goal. And you could hear it, like, I mean, it was maybe 3 seconds. He blew the whistle maybe about 3 seconds. But if that ball had went into the back of net and that goal had stood, who knows what could have happened today. Kilkenny went back up the field, they scored a point, and instead of being level, it was a 4-point turnaround. So the referee got it right. He did call it, and the sending off today, he had no option. He had to send the lad off today. But Kilkenny's desire, Joe, it's I mean, it sort of reminds me, like, I always used to think that Kilkenny reminded me of Armagh back in the early 2000s, and when 2002 and Armagh won the game. Even Meath, going back to the great Meath team when they had the great titanic battle with Dublin over the 3 games. You know, hard men, tough men, no quarter asked, none given. Everybody, you know, they took the hits. Whatever had to be done to win the game, and in the right way. And to me, maybe a wee bit of that's gone from football. You know, the referees, I know the referees are under serious pressure. There's cameras all over the place. Everybody's watching them, and everybody has an opinion. And the poor referee, he's one man. There's 82,000 people there. There's 30 men playing football, and if he gets one mistake wrong, everybody spots it.
And it is highlighted, especially with the coverage at the minute. You know, it's massive. And as you said, with the hurling referees, they do tend to let a lot go. And even for the goal today, he probably let the first free go where he should have blew it, and he was probably blown for the first free. Yeah. For the second time when he stuck it in the back of net. But, you know, maybe it's something that the football referees have to bring in. Let it go a wee bit. You know, there's a lot of yellow cards being thrown around at the minute, and it's hard because you see lads having to come off after 25 minutes because they've probably got a yellow card, they've got a ticking, and you know it ruins a man's game, and it upsets a team's momentum, and you know it's not good to see lads having to come off after 25 minutes because they might get sent off. And you know, maybe there could be something said about maybe bringing in 2 referees. You know, the Aussie rules do it, and it's a great thing. They work well together and they cover each half of the pitch. You know, maybe that's something you could look at and down the line. But you know, it's just hard, and sometimes it frustrates players, especially. But you know, just going back to Kilkenny, it's the desire to keep coming back every year. You know, they're always there. You know,
Joe, you know, when we look at this, like 322 to 311, okay. I mean, you know, and Galway got, you know, they got they come back, they got the goals when they needed them, but Kilkenny just seemed to get into another gear. And then obviously the sending off had a huge factor as well. But Brian Cody was asked in an interview after it, he talked about the sending off, and he talked about the young lad Walter coming in, and he says, look, that's all part of the game. He says, look, I picked these guys on merit. They know what they're doing, and they know what's expected of them. And he doesn't, he doesn't individually praise any player. He just collectively, as a whole team, and he has that mantra that great managers have. I mean, how he gets it out of them is just beyond my comprehension. It's a wonderful thing, and he's a driven man. And like when you think of the great managers, you think of Sean Boylan from Meath. Sean was another great man, and I know Armagh used to have great battles with them in challenge matches all over the country before the league started and the championship. And like there were supposed to be challenge matches, and I mean there weren't challenge matches.
It'd be the best type of game you could get yourself going for a league or a championship game. Maybe 2 weeks for a championship, you go down in a hard hitting game, and it's exactly what you needed, because it gets you into the right frame of mind for championship football. And you're not worrying about the first championship game out. You're not prepared because you played them tough challenge matches. And Sean Boylan, he'd been in the same demeanour as Brian Cody, the way they hold themselves, the type of managers they are, and it just shows the respect, the respect that the Kilkenny players have for him. And it was the same with Sean. I was lucky enough to play under Sean for a couple of years, and he was an unbelievable manager, and it seems like Brian Cody would be on the same legendary status as Sean Boylan as well.
And of course, Sean, I remember Sean coming down many years ago with David Beggy, when David had long hair and all that. So that shows you how long ago that was. He came down to a little presentation in one of the local schools around Christmas time, and it was great. Like, I mean, it must be 20, maybe 25 years ago. And again, you can see in him a driven man. And I suppose to be successful, you have to be able to do that. In relation to me, yourself, I just see you have 2 O'Byrne Cup medals, 2004, 2006, Meath 2 senior championship medals, 2007, 2009, Leinster 2010, and Division 2 in the National League 2007. And you were playing last night in the quarter-final.
Yeah, we won. Thank God. We were playing Summerhill, who were champions actually from last year, and we ended up winning by 4 points. So great performance by the whole team. We haven't been playing as well as we would have liked this year, but we got through to the quarterfinals, and we seem to have a knack of when we get to the knockout stages. We've won it in 2007, 2009, and there was funny stories about them. In 2007, we needed a team to draw, we needed to win by 6 points, and another team to lose by 4 or something like that, and it all happened, and we got through. Same in 2009, we needed results to go away, and we got in, and we ended up going on to win the final. So even the lads from the Meath team would be joking. He goes, as soon as you'll scrape through to the quarterfinals, and if you do, teams tend to be scared, because we would have quite a strong squad, and it's great to be back in the semi-final. Keane Ward's team are actually playing tonight. Wolf Tones in the semi-final or the quarter-final. They play St Patrick's to Mullen, so we'll play the winners of them next Sunday. So
it's on next Sunday.
Next Sunday. So.
And what time's that at, Joe?
I'm not too sure, but it'll probably be a double header in Navan between, and Dunamarash will play Navan and Mahoney's in the second semi-final as well. So it'll probably be maybe 5 and 7 o'clock.
Great stuff. And of course, Navan brings back great memories to myself. I remember us playing Sligo there in 2007 or 2002, and was there a penalty at the end that Armagh maybe gave away or Sligo didn't get? And of course it didn't happen, and Armagh went on to win the All-Ireland. And Joe, of course, you were involved in the minors that day.
Yeah, we played that day. We played against Derry. Unfortunately, we lost. Derry were quite a strong team. Like Gerald O'Kane, Rory Convery, Mark Lynch. Them lads would have come through onto the senior team, and it was a great atmosphere that day. The year Armagh won the first and only All Ireland, it was unbelievable. The buzz up there, and we were delighted to be a part of it. And it was great for us to be involved as underage. Even our minors this year got back to the Leinster or the All-Ireland final again. And they were beat by a very strong Dublin team. But it's great for young lads to get that sense of occasion up in an All-Ireland final, to be involved in it. And unfortunately, we haven't got to a senior one yet. But fingers crossed, if we can keep building, with the minor team from this year, and if we can get, we're hoping to have our manager sorted out within a week. So we'll push on next year after.
Who I hear Colin O'Rourke may be in the running.
Yeah, Colin's going for it. He's going for an interview. So. And
what about
we have Mick
Graham?
O'Dowd.
Graham Garrity.
Yeah, Graham Garrity as well. John Evans, who was our manager, coach from last year. He was brought in from Tipperary. Also, we have Paddy Carr as well, who actually managed Kim McCud to win two Club All-Irelands, I think. So, you know, there's a lot of good lads there. So I'd say it'll stay within the county. I think the lads will be looking to get a local man back in, and we can hopefully push on next year. And
then, of course, when we look at Donegal and the way Donegal, you know, last week, I suppose probably the 2 goals at the start of the game, Joe probably sort of maybe killed it from a certain point of view. But Mayo, and I know people, and I'm just see that Joe Bradley was writing in one of the papers that Mayo choked in the final, but Mayo gave tremendous fight back. They come down from 7 points. They were 6 or 7 points down early in the game, and they fought back and they fought back. There was only 4 points in the end. And in relation to Jimmy McGuinness, you know, Jimmy, you know, he came in and he sort of galvanised the team. And what he has done, Jimmy's been the centre of everything that's good about Donegal. And I mean, if he can do it, why can't Meath not do it? Why can Down not do it? Why can Armagh not do it? I mean, like Donegal, by all stretch of the imagination, you know, I suppose man for man, they're no different or no better than any other team. But collectively,
it's unbelievable.
How he done it?
It just shows how much that they will do for Jimmy. You know, he's obviously come in. He's respected massively by all the players. He won an All Ireland in '92. You know, he won an under-21 All Ireland championship with them. Was it last or the year before last? You know, so he was well used to it. He knew exactly what he had. He brought a lot of them players through. And I was only commenting at the game last week. In the warm-up, Mayo's warm-up compared to Donegal's warm-up it was massive. Donegal, it was just like a well-oiled machine. Once one lad moved, the rest of them moved. It was the intensity in the warm-up compared to Mayo now. Mayo just seemed to be very lacklustre in the warm-up. You know, some of the lads were looking around, and I just noticed that. I just said to the lad, Paddy Byrne was actually at the game beside me, and I just said, I have a funny feeling Donegal now will be hard beat because, and that's probably why they got the 2 goals. They were just bang bang first 10 minutes, and you know the game was probably over. Mayo, to be fair to them, they would have been known. Maybe a lot of people would say, you know, they wouldn't be able to come back. You know, they usually fall to pieces, but they show great heart. You know, they come back, and maybe a couple of bad shots in the last 15 minutes. You know, a couple of bad wides. They could have been a lot closer. Even the goal chance at the end, Seamus O'Shea slipped. You know, if that went in, anything could have happened. You know, so you know, Donegal probably were able to relax on their lead a wee bit. They were 7-8 points up, and they probably just seen out the game. They're very good at doing it. You know, they tend to get a lead and then hold on to it very well, and they're not too often beaten now if they get ahead of you.
And in relation then, Joe, to Croke Park, and of course we go back to that. I suppose that goal that you got. You know, people say who was the last man to score a try in Croke Park? Ran the last man to score a try in Croke Park. People say it was one of the rugby boys, but the GA people would say it wasn't. They would say it was this man sitting beside you. It was Joe Sheridan. And of course, Joe, no matter what you do in your football life from here on in, like, you'll always be remembered for that one. And you done what any good forward do. You just followed the ball in. You got the ball into the back of the net. The bottom line was the ball ended up in the net. The referee gave the score, and then obviously all pandemonium broke loose. And Meath, he's probably actually stole it with that score. But that's what games are about. That's how you win. You don't stop until the final whistle. And I suppose, can you talk us through it? Can you remember? I suppose you can remember it exactly as it happened.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever forget that day, to be honest. I don't think the loud people appreciate that. But, you know, it was one of them things, you know, we were pushing up, and I'll always still blame Seamus Kenny for, he should have buried it. Paddy Keenan made an unbelievable block, and it just landed in my hand, and it was just unfortunate the way it happened. You know, I thought it was blown for penalty, and I just tried to kick it in, and unfortunately I have big enough feet, you think I would have kicked it in. But, you know, it was great for us to get that Leinster, you know, but it was a wee bit tarnished the way things finished up in the end. You know, you didn't even get to celebrate. You know, it was all the way it was dragged out as well. You know, what we were going to do, you know, what the county board were going to do, and then it was just all blown up, and it sort of took the gloss off it a wee bit after winning our first Leinster in so long. And it was my first Leinster as well, and for it to happen that way, it was hard to take a wee bit because there was so much fuss around it.
But I know, Joe, like, I suppose, you know, everybody was saying, like, you know, Meath sort of asked for a replay and all that, but I mean, I'm putting myself in your position. If I had done that for Armagh, or if Dara had done that for Down, or Ryan had done that, you know, bottom line was, lads, the ball ended up in the back of the net, the referee wrote the score down, we won the match, nothing to do with us. That's the way it is, you know, and that's what it's about. And I have to say now, when I did see it and I look back at it and all that, you just volley the ball in. And what has a forward got to do? Got to get the ball in the back of the net. That's the man's
Well,
job.
it was 2 minutes to go in the Leinster final, so we were trying to do as much as you could, and you're just trying to get that goal. And we needed it. We hadn't played well. Louth had played quite well throughout the game, and they were probably the better team throughout. And we were lucky enough now to get the win, and it was a nice one.
It's of course, and it's nice to win. There's no doubt, Joe. It's lovely to win your provincial, and you did say it did sort of bring it off a wee bit. But so look, what can you say? The goal stood. Meath won it, and you marched on. And I suppose now, even looking, and I know you're into the social media and all that, and your Twitter account, and it's you're not Joe Sheridan on Twitter.
No, Square Cut is just a nickname one of the lads in college a couple of years ago, and it just stuck. I used it for a lot of different things, and it's just I put it up there. Twitter it's a great thing. It's a bit of fun, and people I think see it as that, and you get. Some people try and take it too seriously and get caught up a wee bit in it and put up a few controversial things, and I just see it as just a bit of crack, enjoy it, and it is a great thing for advertising. If people are trying to get out there with it, it's unbelievable how many people you can get yourself out there to, in one click of a button. It's just bang bang, people retweeting, and you could send it to 20 or 30,000 people in 5 minutes, and of course, it's unbelievable.
This young man beside you here, he's a phenomenal tweeter as well.
Yeah.
When he was coming down here, he was probably about 3 minutes away, and he was putting up on Twitter that he was coming into the show, that you were going to be here. So again, the power of social media, and of course, Joe, as a player, that there is a certain responsibility players have to take on board, and they have to be careful what they put out there in the public domain, because it gets them into a lot of trouble, particularly GA players.
Exactly, and the thing is with it, they can be taken up as quotes from all the papers, so the papers have no problem taking a quote and sticking it in, and they'd blow a 2-sentence tweet up onto a 2 or 3 page spread of an article, and maybe it's lazy journalism, or it's maybe just taking advantage, but lads have to use their heads as well. There's no point putting stuff up thinking no one's going to see it. You might be chatting to someone. It gets, you just got to be sensible with it, and don't put too much controversial stuff up. If you don't want people to read it in the paper, don't put it up on Twitter. That's the way I look at it.
I suppose that's that, and I suppose if people's looking out there, and Ryan, of course, you're only young, so if you don't want it to be read in the paper, don't put it up on the social media. And of course, I would concur with that, because I have to be careful sometimes what I put up. But Joe, in relation to your own football, people say Joe Sheridan from Meath. Joe, you were 3. You were born in Navan, and then you went to Birmingham, and you lived in Birmingham for 10 years, I think.
Yeah, and lived in Birmingham there. Played with John Mitchell's over in Birmingham. It was brilliant. There was a lot of Irish people over there at the time. A lot of people had moved over. Dad had moved over to work, and it was brilliant. There was a lot of Irish over there, as I said, and just to get involved, that was the main thing. You go down and train, you'd meet all the lads, and Dad would have played. He won 4 or 5 club championships over there, and he would have played here with Navan as well, won championships here. So we were all brought up playing Gaelic football, and as soon as you went to England, it was so easy just to fit in with the Irish community, and we were delighted. We still keep in touch with all these people. We made great friends over there, and then obviously after 10 years we come back to Navan, and we settled down in Navan again. And
of course then, Joe, and I didn't realise this, that you were going to see John Mitchell's playing in Omagh on the day the bomb went off.
Yeah, that was funny actually. We were actually building a house in Centralstown at the time, and Dad said, "We'll go up." It was a nice hot day, and they were actually playing in Omagh at the time. John Mitchell's were coming up, the ladies team. We said, "We'll go up." So the whole lot of us went up to the game, and we arrived up in Omagh, and we were looking for directions for the pitch, and we were coming into Omagh, and we stopped the lady and just said, "Do you know where the football pitch is?" And she goes, "Yeah, grand, just go up through the lights and through the town." And she gave us directions anyway, and she just threw out a wand. She said, "By the way, there's a bomb scare in town." And we paid no attention. We just kept going, and we arrived up at the lights, and there's a crossroads just in Omagh at the main lights, and we were about 3 or 4 back, and next thing, the big explosion. And Dad would have worked in Tower Mines at the time, so he would have known, about explosions and blasts, and he just said to my mother, who was sitting beside her, "That's a bomb." And we couldn't believe it. There was maybe a 5-second silence, and then it was just craziness. You know, my mother is a nurse, so she got out and she tried to, you know, help as many people as they could. And we had a big minibus at the time. People used to get slagging about it because it was like you'd arrive, the whole Sherrans arrive, and the big minibus would come to the games, and we'd bring people to the games and stuff. But it helped that day because we were able to put as many people into the minibus as possible, bring them up, and you know there was a lot of people you know, affected that day, and it was terrible to see. You know, a lot of people with bad injuries, and you know, lucky enough now a lot of people have overcome. You know, like Ryan here. You know, just the stuff that has happened to them. You know, it's great to see these people coming on. A lad that we actually had his whole side blown out of that day is an Irish. I think he's an Irish go-karting champion. He cycles now for all over Ireland. You know, so it's great to see these people, you know, being able to come back and, you know, not being knocked back. And you know, we take it for granted playing on a football pitch the whole time that, you know, we can get out and run around the pitch, and we have the luxury of doing it. And people forget about that. And you know, Ryan here, fair play. I mean, it's fantastic. Your drive and will to get back at it. You know, a lot of people, it just puts in perspective. And you know, we go out, and at the end of the day, it's only a game of football, and we enjoy it. You know, it's great. You know, you're up playing in Croke Park and in front of thousands of people, but at the end of the day, you come off the pitch and you're alive, and you're still able to walk around, and it's great. And you know, we maybe take it for granted a wee bit sometimes, and you know, it's great to be able to do it as well. You know, so. Well,
there we go. Well done to the Sheridans that day. Anyway, as you say, the minibus definitely came into its own on that day. Joe, that's an amazing piece of that's an amazing story to be telling us here this evening. You know, of course. Then when you say Ryan as well, I know Dara's trying to show me something in the background here, but I can't read it because. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have a wee quick look at the local soccer results, Ryan. We're going to talk to them here. Dara's going to push them up on the screen here if we get them up, and we're going to look at them, and then we take a wee break, and then people can we'll get a drink of water, and then come back again for the second part, because this is actually very good this evening. I'm on a buzz here, Joe. It's brilliant. So Dara, if you can get the local soccer up here on the big screen, and of course don't forget next week Armagh ladies playing Waterford in the All Ireland final. Well, there we go, Ryan. Bestwick United 1, Kilkeel 0, Cleary 4. Rockview 2, Killeavy 6, Creve 0, Killowen Celtic 2, Whitecross 3, North End Strollers 0, and Woodside, my old team, 2. Any one sticks out there, Ryan?
Yeah, Cleavy one looks like it was a
bit of a tanking anyway. Well done. And then we're going to the first division. Bohemians and Villa Rovers 1-1. Clanray Athletic 0. Cartwheel from Crossmaglen. Joe, bet you didn't know they played soccer in Crossmaglen.
No, I didn't think they'd be allowed.
There you go. Cartwheel United 4. Newry Hibs 0. Restreva Rovers 3. And Parkview 2. Ashgrove Rovers 0. And Shanroe Santos 2. Midway United 3. So I suppose, Brian, when we look at that one there, probably Cartwheel winning 4-0 again, Clanray Athletic.
Yeah, Midway and game would have been a good game to watch. 3-2.
Yeah, 3-2. Yeah, Shanroe Santos, that's a good game. And of course, then we go down to the bottom one here, the Bestwick Cup, Ballabot United and Orchard City. Now, again, Newry City have gone, but Orchard City are alive and well here, Ryan. And Orchard City, I think they scored in about the 82nd minute or something to win that game 1-0. And of course then Newry Celtic was beat 6-1 by Windmill Stars. So the final, Orchard City and Windmill Stars on Boxing Day. Now we don't even know where it's going to be, Ryan, because these games normally played in Newry City, but because of what's happened in Newry, we don't know. But maybe down in Francorn Park. Yeah. Orchard City or Windmill Stars. What you're calling that one?
I know, it'd be a tough game. Orchard City have great players playing for them some players have played for Newry.
I think your brother plays for him, is that right? Because he was running around showing me off his tracksuit top last night. Danny?
Yeah, Danny plays for them too. But they have good squad, Orchard do. But Windmill's great too, like they're a fantastic team.
So that's going to be a cracking final, and we may possibly later on, closer to the time, it would be a good one to have up for the cup with the two teams involved and the whole lot of us all together. Going out live, we'll talk to Dara about that one and see can we arrange that one. Dara's looking at me saying, "Do you not think I have enough to do?" It's going to be a cracking final. So the Bestwick Cup, Boxing Day, obviously just around Christmas time. So that's one looking forward to. So there we have the local soccer. So I think, Dara, we can take a little break now. So we're going to have a break and we'll come back to this in a couple of minutes. So hang with us.
Love it.
Yeah.
Destination Uri here to the studio down here in Railway Avenue, Studio B, where we have Ryan Cinnamon and Joe Sheridan, two legends as far as I'm concerned. Ryan starting out in life, and Joe, well, Joe's just in the middle of super Meath player, I suppose a superstar, a great guy and a good friend of Destination Uri. Joe, we really appreciate you coming down here. But we're going to look in here to the shout box because I'm getting shouts from the back that telling me to be doing these things. So Ryan, this will go to you. Kieran says, what about Spurs beating United?
Oh yeah, it was. Don't think it was a good game. Like when I seen it, and United weren't playing the best. Like weren't playing up to what they could, and don't think Alex would be happy with that.
Definitely wouldn't be. Right, okay, and then of course the Derry Camogues won the All Ireland yesterday. Joe, great for the Derry girls, won their senior All Ireland Camogie, so they won it by a point. I think it was 213 to 212. So well done to Derry Camogues. And then Mick says, Joe said Trevor Giles was his hero. Who outside of Meath would you pick as your hero, Joe?
I'd probably say Maurice Fitzgerald. You know, just the type of player he was. He could do anything. He could go left foot, right foot. You know, that point he kicked against Dublin from the sideline was fantastic. And
I also remember the one he scored against Armagh.
Oh yeah, you know, he scored that many points now, and I remember, I think it was actually against Armagh in an All-Ireland final, I think. Semi-final, he was taking frees off the ground with his left foot, and you know, when you see a lad, I think Colin Corky was the only other man I've ever seen do it, and he was just unbelievable, and it was probably sad to see he retired quite early. You know, I think he was still playing club football up to maybe last year, or he still could be playing.
He's still playing club football.
You know, and that's unbelievable. You know, for a man of his stature and his ability to still be playing football. I don't know what age he is now. He could be late 30s or 40s, but to be still doing it for his club and you know giving his all. And I just thought it was sad that a man of his ability that he probably didn't play on. It was probably like Trevor Giles. Trevor, he retired quite early. He got a couple of injuries. He started a new business and had a family, and you know it was probably a big disappointment for a lot of Meath people, especially for myself. I had the pleasure playing with him, and he was involved with us this year on with the Meath setup, and he's an unbelievable man. He's a great role model for people. You know, his demeanour, the way he goes on, his knowledge of football, his ability, and the two of them, they would sort of be in the same category. You know, very nice footballers, the skill. You know, but the one thing about them, the desire to win. You know, and you look at the best footballers in the country. You know, their desire to win. You know, not many people can match it, and you know that's what sort of sets good players aside from great players. And you know, you just look at their records. You know, Trevor has two player of the years. He's 2 or 3 All Irelands. He's 3 Leinsters. He was captain of the international rules. He's 2 All Stars, and you know, Maurice Fitzgerald, numerous All Stars. You know, numerous All Ireland medals. You know, so you got to be successful. You know, and then boys, they have to have the team around them as well. But you know, them lads were the lads that were probably the focal point of the teams at the time. Yeah,
great footballers and lovely lads. And then Kevin says, fair play to Joe from coming down to Newry, great footballer. So thanks a million, Kevin. Really appreciate that from Joe. Derek, can you ask Joe about the goal? You know the goal I mean. Well, we've already done that, Derek. We've spoken about it, and Joe has already given us opinions on that because I didn't get into this till late. And then Shardy, what does he think of Kevin Cassidy missing out in the All Ireland last week? I suppose the same could be said for Mortimer from Mayo. You know, it's a hard one, wasn't it, Joe?
It is, you know, and Kevin's been around with Donegal for so long. He's been a great servant to them, and you know, it was disappointing maybe the way it all panned out. You know, at the beginning of the year with the way the book was, and you know, there is a unwritten rule that you know what stays in the change room, stays in the change room, and you know, Jimmy come in, and you know that's what he set out his stall and told him. You know, maybe you know when the manager comes in, you have to stick by his rules, and you know it's unfortunate the way it happened. You know, I know Kevin, met him a couple of times, and he's a lovely lad, and I think he was actually out in Boston playing football this summer, and I'd say it was probably hard for him to watch on. You know, he's watching Donegal go so well, and then to go on and win the All Ireland, it was probably hard for him to watch. But you know, he's a great fella now, and you know it's unfortunate the way he finished out.
After the match last week, Jimmy McGuinness, he wouldn't give the press interview until the Declan Bogue was asked to leave the press room. I thought that was a wee bit over the top. You know, that might come back to bite McGuinness later on as you know times go on, because you know I suppose involved in the media and all that. I just don't think that was right. You know,
he really obviously felt very strong about it. You know, he maybe thought that, you know, it was. Is it Declan Bogue? Declan Bogue. You know, maybe it was his fault that, you know, he had to take the decision to drop Kevin. You know, and it was probably a bit of bad feeling towards him, and you know, especially after winning the All-Ireland, maybe he'd stay quiet about it for so long. You know, and maybe, you know, all the adrenaline come out, and you know, to be fair, I'd have a lot of time for Jimmy for doing it, because he stood up for what he believed in, and he didn't want Declan in the interview room, and you know, I'd stand up and say, listen, fair play to Jimmy for saying it, because other lads would maybe, if they felt that strongly about it, they'd probably just let it go. But Jimmy, he stood up, and you know, that's the man he is, and you know, I'd hold my hand up and say fair play.
And then
Jimmy.
I suppose, Joe, when we talk about Jimmy and we look at Jimmy, we have to mention the song.
Yeah.
Jimmy's winning matches. I'm sure you've seen it.
I did, and I seen the Kilkenny hurlers tried to pull out a version of it today after the game, but I think they should leave it up to the Donegal boys, because it wasn't the best version. But no, it's brilliant. You know, stuff like that gets people going. You know, gets the interest going around the country. And it wasn't just Donegal people; everyone was nearly singing it. Because
well, I mean, I've seen myself last week sitting in the house, and the song's going through your head. You know, Jimmy's winning matches, Jimmy's doing this, and Jimmy's doing that, and it's one of them songs that it sticks in there, and no matter even you want to get rid of it, it's still there.
Yeah.
And it is. I mean, I suppose the lad that wrote it, young Rory, it just, I suppose, greatness has been bestowed upon him because of the song, and it was all
like
about.
Jedward, I think, up the town there. You know,
they'll give it a blast.
Exactly.
You might open the door here and listen to the two lads singing Jimmy's winning matches with some other ones here. Charlie, what is Joe's opinion on down football? You've played again down, Joe, I'm sure, like the standard of down football.
Yeah, I've played a couple of actually. Played a few down teams up in the sevens, up in Kilmacud a couple of times as well. And the thing about down football is they're very fast, very skillful footballers, and you know, they've probably gone back a wee bit from the time they got to the All Ireland. You know, Marty Clark is a big loss. So he was the focal point for the whole year that year, and he's a massive loss to them. You know, but they have some very good footballers. You know, I was watching them this year, and they weren't far off. You know, they won the Ulster fine. You know, they beat Monaghan. You know, and Monaghan were probably cruising that day to come back, and it was a. You know, they play some good football now, and they have some good footballers. We played in a challenge actually up in Clones this year, and it was a very good game. And you know, so like Benny Coulter was a big loss. He was only coming in and out with the injury he had. So, you know, I'd say they'll still be there for another couple of years because they have a good focal point on the team. There's some very strong players, and if they can bring a few younger lads from the under 21s and minors up, you know, they'll be there in the next few years around Ulster and the All Ireland.
And of course, when you talk about Benny Coulter, Benny last night was co-commentating on the games down in Park Esler, so he's a good friend of Destination Uri as well. And as we say that, with just the matches next weekend, Tullyleash versus Warren Point and Longstone versus Mayo Bridge next Sunday at 5 and 6:30 down in Park Esler, and then on Friday night we have Bosco versus Drumgaff, and then we have Kilcoo versus Bransford next Friday night, and it's going to be a cracking weekend of down football, Joe. So you know, Benny's still playing. I know when the draw was made last night, he said he didn't want Longstone because Longstone put Burnout on the other night, and it was a cracking game. And of course, when we come on to that, somebody says here, Cahill says here, Joe, what do you think of the live streaming? You know, Destination Uri, we're covering live games, we're doing this show live. It's probably, you know, it's social media, and it's taken the whole thing to a different level, Joe.
It's unbelievable. You know, it's great for local club teams. You know, you'd have an interest in all the games, but you might not get to see them. You know, so you could be at home, you might not get to the game, and you know, you can just put it up on the laptop, see the game, and the quality. I was looking at a few of the games there. Quality is unbelievable, and it's great to have, you know, the interest in it. You know, especially I was away over in Boston there for 6 or 8 weeks. And even the interest away from home, you know, if people can get this up, can see this, see their own club team in Boston or in Australia or someone like that, you know, it's just great. You know, it sort of helps people away from home to keep in touch and see their local team, and you know, especially when you're away from home, you know, getting to see this stuff, it's great. You know, it's hard for people having to emigrate and move away, but you know, it sort of gives them a piece of home away from home, you know, and be able to see that. And even for myself, you know, we the other quarterfinals on tonight, if we could see that, you know, you'd be able to see the team you're playing next weekend and see what the strengths are and weaknesses, and it's just going to open up a lot of different avenues for live streaming and live games.
And of course, Destination Uri, Joe, are at the cutting edge of that at the moment, so it's great to be involved in that. And Damian McCullough says, great show, he's enjoying it. Yep, and we've one here. Joe McGee says, any talk tonight about the Down Club Championships the weekend, the 5 or 6 minutes in the games and the semis next week. So yeah, we did talk about that, Joe, coming up there. So don't know, we look at I suppose when we look at the games, Mayo Bridge, Longstone, that's going to be a hard one to call. You know, Longstone, I was pretty impressed, Joe, what I seen the game on Destination Uri the other night. I know Benny, he probably wanted to stay away from that one, so they're going to be 2 cracking games. It's just hard, you know. It's in the melting pot. I couldn't say. Would Longstone beat Mayo Bridge? Don't know. It's like everything else. Semi-final of the championship. It's
anything can happen. Yeah, exactly.
Anything can happen.
Semi-finals are sort of.
They're there to be won, Joe.
There to be won, get to the final, and that's the main thing. They're probably not the prettiest games, but they're usually tough, tight games, and it's just a matter of getting over that and into the final.
Well, I know from our own point of view, we played Crossmaglen last week, and they beat us by 3 points, and we had 2 chances. You know, we had 2 goal chances. There were 2 gifts, like in a match of that intensity and that tightness, and we didn't take them. And Cross, of course, McConville, what can we say about him? He steps up and he hits the scores when it matters.
It's phenomenal. You know, his record at club level and at county level. I was chatting to him up at it was a kick Sarah up in Dundalk last week, and he was involved in it, and he's just done it all. I don't know how. I think it's 13 or 14 club championships. It's a couple of All Irelands, and for them to keep doing it in Crossmaglen as a club team every year, and the fact that it's a knockout is even it's even better. They don't get a second chance. You have to be good enough, and you have to keep bringing through this talent. And for a club team, I know just from chatting to different people who've been involved with Crossmaglen, they run it like a county team. They're so professional, and all the young lads, they're brought up with the same ethos that this is the way Crossmaglen is ran, and it shows it. Success.
They know how to pull. They know how to pull the game. Like take the All Ireland final this year at St Patrick's Day in Croke Park. Gary Castle blew them out of the water in the first half, and then obviously Cross came back and they pegged away at them, and they probably could have won it in the second half performance, but a draw was probably a good result. And we look up here. Here's the Crossmaglen match from last week. Carrickcroppen was playing Crossmaglen 2-7 to 1-12, but the game went up. The final score was more than that. Carrickcroppen scored a couple more goals, but Crossmaglen, what can we say about them? There he is.
He's just a natural footballer, left foot, right foot. He does it the whole, and he produces every time for his club team.
And when we look at him doing that, I've seen him do it so many times, and Crossmaglen needed them couple of scores, because we come back, we got a couple of goals, and we got the goal at the right time. Even right at the end, we brought it back to the point. Who did they go to? They went to McConville, and what did McConville do? He does what he always does.
Exactly, he's so reliable.
Yes, he put the ball over the bar, and it sort of saps you. But it's going to be a cracking game between them and Pearse Oaks in the final. It's going to be a tough game. So everybody will be thinking that is Crossmaglen, are they good enough to beat Pearse Oaks? Because Pearse Oaks had a big win against Cullyhanna, and I would say this match here again, Carrickcroppen was probably a better for Crossmaglen because they put them to the pin of their collar, and Crossmaglen responded well. So it's going to be a cracking one. We've another one in here. Tell Joe, can we stream some games in Meath, Joe? Would you like to see us coming up and doing your game? Say you get to the final, doing the final.
Oh, absolutely, it'd be brilliant now. Even to maybe come up to our club and be involved, and to be able to see it's just going to open up stuff to people. To have our club games watched live, and we'd only see maybe 2 or 3 days after, we'd have a DVD and you'd see the game, whereas now with live streaming you'd be able to see the game straight away, people who can't make the games, and it'd be fantastic. Listen, if you're coming up, don't leave it too long, and hopefully we're in the final.
Well, there we go. We'll see what we can do with that one. It would be great fun, Joe, and of course we would hope that you would get to the final. Your semi-finals on, is it next weekend?
Next Sunday, yeah.
Next Sunday, so, right, okay.
Fingers crossed.
Well, the best of luck to that one. And Sean says, what does Joe think of Armagh's chances next year? What do you think?
Yeah,
with new management in now, new management and new manager, a new backroom team. We have Peter McDonald and we have Martin McQuillan, who was involved, I believe, with Louth. Were they involved with Louth, with Peter Fitzpatrick, that they played them in
Could have been, yeah. I'm not too sure now.
Yeah, well, so they're in his backroom team as well. So it's going to be interesting times for Armagh. You know?
Yeah, they've had a tough last couple of years. Maybe they haven't probably got to the heights from the last maybe the early 2000s when they were very successful. But it's very hard to keep going, and Meath are the same. You have to sort of transition. Bring new players on, and that's probably where Armagh are at the minute. They're probably looking for a few more players from the minor and under-21 setups. If they can bring them along, they still have the very good footballers like Aaron Kern, and you've got all the Kernans. How many is there?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And Jamie Clark. There's some fantastic footballers, and if they can just get a few more players in there, it's the same with a lot of teams. You've got to bring up the youth and mix in with your experienced players and your younger players as well. And Meath are probably a bit like that this year as well. We brought on a few young players, and they sort of bring a bit of freshness to the whole setup. And Armagh, they have a very good club system. A very good successful club system, and that's only come on to it showed it come on to the county scene as well. So there'll be no doubt that Armagh will be strong, and that it won't be long by the time they're winning Ulsters again.
Okay, we've got some more coming in here now, right? So Sean, great to see you on board here tonight. Great stuff. That's young Sean. Glad to see the show going on without me for now. Looking good, lads. Great show. And of course, that's young Sean that does our production manager, Sean. Sean, Dara says the seat's only been kept warm for you for next week. And Sean, appreciate you. You had a tough week, and I dedicate this show to Sean and his family after the tragic circumstances last week. So Sean, great to have you on board. And Dara says the seat is yours next week, Sean, so don't be thinking you're going away. And then St. Gall's, they won Antrim, they beat the one last night in Antrim, so St. Gall's are back in the Ulster Trail, Joe, so that's another interesting one.
Yeah, very strong. They're always there or thereabouts, and they're always very strong in Antrim. The squad for a club team is fantastic.
Isn't it strange that Antrim have such great club team and they don't produce it at county level? But I suppose Liam Bradley done great work, and I'm not even sure who's going to get the Antrim job, but I would think if young Adams get it and keeps it in house, who knows what could happen. Joe, another wee question here from McGinn. D. McGinn says, ask Joe which pundit bugs him the most, Spillane or Bradley or O'Rourke.
Do you
not really pass much from
That's a tough one. Well, listen, that they're very good for the Sunday game, and that they work well off each other. Colin.
I think that's what it's about.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that sort of creates the buzz between them. They can have the crack between them, and Colin as a Meath man, is obviously the best of them. But no, they're very strong characters, and Joe probably puts himself out there more, and he puts a few more controversial things up. Himself and Pat sort of bounce off each other well, and Colin is sort of the mediator in between them, and it is good to watch. And even just watching the hurling pundits there say they're great crack, and some of the comments they come out with.
Well, I love Gerald Lagana. I think he's class,
yeah.
And I mean he's so passionate about hurling, and I love it. And I have to agree with you. Probably the three lads, they're a good team because we all love to hate Spillane if we're telling the truth. And then we look at Bradley, and you never take on a barrister because he's got the legal brain, and he's maybe three steps ahead of. Yes, he's always 3 steps. And if you say about Colin comes in and he tries to be the mediator, but it is good because if they're all boring, sure, nobody would want
to watch it.
Yeah, so that's for sure. So keep the comments coming in, and of course, Joe, we're going to ask you some questions before we go. We didn't start we missed our start by a couple of minutes, so we'll just roll on over the top of the hour if Dara will allow us. But Ryan, you're sitting here and you're very quiet and you're enjoying the fun here. I know, and of course, when Joe talks about All Ireland's, St. Paul's, your school, they won the All Ireland this year. We played Ardskull Royce in the final, and the replay was in Cavan the same day that Kerry Castle played Crossmaglen, and of course Andy Cunningham was his record in replays isn't good. Crossmaglen tanked Gary Castle, and today obviously Kilkenny tanked Galway. But Ryan, you were at that final, and it was great to see St. Paul's. This is our local school here, Joe. This was our first forte into colleges B football, and they won the All Ireland. And of course, as you say about young lads building for the future, an Armagh school won the All Ireland. They scored 20 points. They never let the Dublin team score, and they were representing Leinster. They never scored 1 point in the second half, and it was probably as good a game of football as at colleges level that I have ever seen. And what it means is that there's young lads from Armagh who have tasted all Ireland glory and are now eager for more. And this is the school that this young man here goes to.
That's great, because I was involved with St Pat's of Navan, with Colin O'Rourke obviously, and it is probably some of the best football you will see. You know, you have young lads there, full of energy, fit, and mad just to play football, probably just to get out of class more so than then. But it's brilliant. It's the systems and the actual competitions at school level is fantastic. And you know, just a simple fact here, I think we have 14 lads from, say, the Pats teams that maybe went on to win Hogan Cups with St Pat's and Navan would be on the Meath County team at the minute, or would have come through. You know, so it does breed success. You know, and it brings the lads on, and it's only going to help Armagh football. You know, if these lads are coming, winning, as you say, tasting success at all Ireland level, and they're only going to want more. And you know, they're obviously very good footballers as well. So as long as they can keep them involved and make sure they bring them up to the minor level and on the 21 level, you know, it's only going to work well for Armagh.
And of course, we have the Abbey here and St Coleman's, and of course Grit Down connections as well. And now we have St Paul's from Armagh. They're all playing in the McCrory Cup this year, and of course St Coleman's and St Paul's play in the early rounds of the McCrory.
So it'd be interesting.
I think that's coming out on I think sometime in around mid-October, so something not to be missed. And maybe hopefully, Joe, that Destination Jury will cover that one live, and you can tune into
that one
and let us know what you think of it. But Ryan, you were sitting here and you were telling us about your legs here, and you know they're £30,000 each, and they're all computerised and all sorts of things. But you're going a wee bit further now. You're looking for the blades.
Yeah, that's the next step after I got used to the sea legs now, and I want to further myself, so I want to run again. So I'm looking into the blades and what ones I'm going to get, and then I'm going to go for that there.
And of course, Joe, when we watched the Olympics and the Paralympics, it was a great buzz for everybody. And I suppose from the likes of Ryan's point of view, you know, like it's boundless, and you know what you can achieve if you so desire. And I suppose it's like all sport. Whether you know, there's no such thing. I mean, it's disabled. They're athletes. Everybody's an athlete,
absolutely.
And everybody works that wee bit harder. And I suppose the person that works that wee bit harder will get there.
Exactly, and as Ryan was saying, you know, he's looking for himself, and it just shows. Like, I was watching the Olympics, and it's great to watch. You know, there was a great buzz, and I was down at a charity thing there for the Special Olympics in Navan, and some of the girls I was chatting to them about their training schedules, and they're doing as much training as I am. They're up at 6 o'clock in the morning out swimming, you know, and you know it's the same as us. You know, they train as hard as us, and it's not as if, like, it's unbelievable to have people involved, you know, that maybe people would look at them and say, oh, they wouldn't be able. No, it's great to have people, you know, them all involved, and you know, with the technology these days,
and we look up on our screen here. Ryan, what can we say?
Oscar,
one of your heroes.
Yeah, first person to compete in the Olympics, and 2 of his legs off, like first Paralympian to compete in the Olympics as well, and being in the top 16 in the world. And he's 2 of his legs off below the knee. Shows like there's no, it's not about your disability, it's about your ability, which he said, yeah.
And I suppose, Joe, that's you know, what can we say? And he's got his blades. And Ryan, maybe in 4 years' time, who knows? Yeah. Maybe we could be doing the Sunday show from Brazil. That would be good fun.
Can I come?
Absolutely. Now, what do we say? Have we any more here? Say, would it be as good? Okay, wouldn't be as good as Tiger, Holy Mary. Oh God, Holy Mary, Mother of God ball. Where did it go wrong? So this is. There's a wee story about that, Joe, and I'm not even going to go into it here, because when Armagh was going well back in the day, in 2002, there was a character made an appearance in Croke Park that day, and he was dressed as, you know, Tiger. Right, and face painted and all that, and then as Armagh progressed from 2002 2003 right up, Tiger was synonymous with that, and he sort of he made the odd appearance. But a couple of years ago there was a Guinness World Record in Camla where there was they swam for, I think, 14 days 14 nights non-stop. They broke the long distance relay swim. And he was out on a kayak that day, and he went into the mist in the morning, and he hasn't been seen since. So that's where Tiger went to. But Joe, just as we talk about that, we've just got confirmation here this week that there was the world's longest relay race was done up in St Coleman's Park here near your new running track, right. And for 18 days in 18 nights, the baton was handed across to each athlete running around the track. And Guinness just confirmed this week that Keep On Running in Newry have picked up another Guinness World Record. So that's
Fantastic.
2 Guinness World Records: long distance swim, the long distance run, and I don't really know what they're going to do now next time round, because it's a phenomenal achievement just for here in Newry. Great stuff, isn't it? It's marvellous. It's just great to be part of the sport and fraternity that's Newry and Mourne.
That's brilliant, and that just shows, the power of sport. It helps people and brings people together, local and nationally, and stuff like that. It creates a buzz around the local community, and to have two Guinness World Records in Newry is phenomenal. And it's I think that's maybe the drive of people these days. They want to do as much as they can, and it's Ryan here, driving himself on, and he's going for the Blaze now. It's a lot of money, so the more people can help out, and the charity game the other night, it's great, and the more people can give, and that's the power of people these days, and the power of giving and coming together, and the more it can happen, the better it is for everyone, I think.
That's for sure. And we've just got another wee question in here, Joe. Do you follow any League of Ireland soccer teams?
Not really. I follow Aston Villa in the Premier League, so that's my biggest problem, trying to follow them. And it's,
don't know how they've done it.
It's getting pretty frustrating at the minute. But I'd watch a bit of it now, to be honest. Gary Rogers, he plays in goals. Is it for Shamrocks, isn't it? Is it Shamrocks? I think he plays in goals for. He would have played on the Meath team a couple of years ago. He's a very good goalkeeper. So I'd watch. If he's playing, he'd be from Bohemien. He'd be my father managed the team this year, so he'd be from that local club. So I'd watch in every now and again, yeah.
Yeah, and of course we look up, we see the down results there of the Down Senior Championship. Mayo Bridge 17, Saville 111. Of course, that'll be Danny Hughes' team, Saville, and Mayo Bridge, obviously Benny Coulter. Bourne 2-8, Longstone 113. I would say, Joe, that's probably the pick of the two games, because Bourne defending champions, and then Longstone coming in, and Bourne were sort of cruising in that game, and Longstone come back, and of course they're managed by Greg McCartan, that played for Down, and a great win for Longstone. Bransford 110 were Strathern 8, and that's young Caelan Mooney's team. I think that was Caelan was playing that. He came on. He came back from Australia. He's playing with Collingwood over in Australia, and he came back and he played for Strathern. So it doesn't matter how far away you go, it still claws you back. You still have that desire to play for your team. And then Kilcoo versus Castlewellan. Castlewellan got off to a fantastic first half last night, Joe, and Kilcoo, and I know there was a competition run last night, and everybody still fancied Kilcoo, and Kilcoo come back well in the second half and won that one. And then the Armagh Junior Championship on Portmore 2-11 to Annagmore 2-8, a great result for Blackwater Town to win the Junior Championship, and that's the first championship final in Armagh. Next weekend Killeavy plays St Peters. That's Stephen McDonald's team plays St Peters, and then obviously then the following week we have Crossmaglen versus Pearse Oak. So that's all the local Gaelic wrapped up on that one. So interesting times ahead, Joe, with Destination Newry and live streaming. And of course,
absolutely, yeah. And the more can get out there, I think for people, I think when people actually realise it's there, they're going to love it. They can sit at home and watch the games that they probably wouldn't be going to, but they'd like to watch. I don't think it's going to stop people from going to the games.
No, I think people say it may affect the attendance at games. It won't really, because what you're doing is, if your team's essentially Town's playing Carrickcruppen, you're still going to go, and I'm still going to go, and whoever else follows them teams are going to go. The people that's living in Boston, Helsinki, New York, Boston, Texas, Australia, all over the world, it gives them a chance to feel part of home. And as you say, Joe, you've been away from home, and the GAA is a wonderful organisation in that context, that it has, like, the world's a big place. The social media have made it smaller, but the GAA have been the social media of the world before that, because if you went away and you went to play with a Gaelic team somewhere in the world, didn't matter where it was, from being a stranger in a strange land, you become a friend of somebody that plays Gaelic football, and then all of a sudden, what county do you come from? Who do you play for? And then it starts to pull together, and then you've made friends for life, and if anything happens, there's always people there to support you. And that's the wonderful thing about it. It's a
worldwide community, it's such a small place, the world now, people are coming together, and you could be on the street in Australia and you walk into a Gaelic area, and go onto a pitch and they take in straight away, and you've 25, 30 new friends straight away, and it's easier for people who are away from home. It sort of brings them back, and it's something they can relate to, and it makes people fit in, and it's brilliant for people away, and it's even our own local club. It's great. You grow up with these lads, and they're friends for life, and it's the GAA has been like that for years, and it always will be, and I don't think we're ever going to lose that either.
That's great. Now, just as I look up here, I see the local pool results in there. They're up behind us here, and I know we have great fun with the local pool. Probably one of the biggest pool leagues in Ireland here, Joe. And I know we done the draw for the Vegas Cup here in the studio a couple of weeks ago. And when we look up here, we see. I just see TJ's beat Carrickcruppen 7-2. I don't really like that result because this is my club up here. But it's again, Joe. It's sport. It's guys out enjoying themselves, and there is a team here that have won the league. Your club, 11 years in a row, I think, or 10 years in a row, they have won the Newry Pool League. That's
right.
Cranchago, and there's great debate here. McGuigan's over in the corner think that they're going to be the top guns this year, but Cranchago are quietly confident, Joe, that they will retain their title. So again, when we talk about competing at your level, these guys here, and I know if you go watch a pool match and the way it's played, you're nearly not allowed to breathe, and you have a minute to take the shot, you have 20 minutes to finish the game, and all that. It's competition, and this is what it's all about.
Whatever level it is, it's great to have it. It brings people together, and sport is brilliant like that, as I was saying earlier on. And the more people can get involved, the better. And it's just keep it going, and you got to enjoy it. That's the main thing. I'd go out to young lads, maybe do a bit of coaching, and if you don't enjoy it, that you may as well not be playing it, because if you're enjoying it, you're a smile on your face, and it's brilliant no matter what sport you're playing.
There's no doubt, and we've just got another one in here. Paul says, up the bridge, Kilcoo versus Ford Friday night, with Bosco versus Drumgaff, and Sunday Bridge versus Stone, and Point versus Tullyleash. So we wish all them teams the very best. Next weekend, hopefully the weather is a little bit kinder than we had this morning. Joe, I had 10 questions here to sort of put to you, and I know you've answered them before, so we've already sort of touched on this. Who's your favourite pundit? You said Colin O'Rourke, so we'll go with that one because he's a Meath man. And your sporting idol, you've talked about Trevor Giles, Michael Jordan. Said Michael Jordan. I had the great privilege of seeing him playing basketball in America. So again, another great athlete and a legend. Joe, when you've scored the most in the game for your club or county, you scored 3-2 in a senior club league game a couple of years ago against Ashbourne, and in an underage game you scored 4-4 in another 14 game against Westmeath and Mullingar. Great memories.
Yeah, listen, as a forward, it's great to always score, and we probably get more plaudits than the defenders and the midfielders who actually give us the ball and work harder. And we'll take it all day. But at the end of the day, it's a team game, and it's obviously when your confidence is going, you're playing well and you like to get on the scoreboard. But sometimes you have to sacrifice your own game, even on the scoreboard as a forward, to work harder. And if the team is winning, listen, I prefer the team to win and not score. And that's all. It's about the 15 lads on the pitch, the 30 lads involved in the whole team. And if you want to play an individual sport, go and do the Olympics. Or do something like that. So
I see, Joe, also here. If you had one specific skill from one player, what would the skill be, and who would the player be? And you said Gooch's ability to kick scores. He
just makes it look so easy. Left foot, right foot. A lad's trying to mark him, he goes on his right, he'll check back onto his left, and he never, I don't think I've ever seen him ever blocked down, because he can just think so quickly. He's so, I saw a goal he scored for Dr. Croaks on the internet there last year, and it was phenomenal. He just, the way he done it, the skill, if anyone has a chance, have a look at it. The stuff he can do with a football is phenomenal, and for his size, people said that was his problem, but
doesn't matter.
I don't think anyone can mark him.
And of course then, Joe, the greatest score, one score sticks out in your mind, and you've said here that you played for St Pat's and Avon when you were at school, and the All-Ireland College against St Charles in Croke Park in 2001.
Yeah, that was we were 6 or 7 points down, and we got back. I was lucky enough, I got a goal, and we got another goal. I got a free, I think we were a point up or something like that. It was about 60, 65 yards out. I was lucky enough, I was kicking the frees at the time, and it was it went over anyway, and then actually a brother of mine was playing on the day as well, and he kicked one of the best points ever, kicked in Croke Park over underneath the Cusack stand on the inside of his foot from about 40 yards out, and that sort of killed the game. And it was our second one we won, so it was great to have that.
And Joe, you've just said here, I love this quote: once we get level, we're not going to be beaten. That's a great philosophy. You pull the game back to level. Once you get level, you step it up and you go ahead.
Well, it's all mental, to be honest. 90% I think people say is in the head. You have the ability, so it's all the mind games, and if you can be mentally strong in a game and you get back to a team, and you have to coming back from a deficit and you get back to a team, the doubts are in the other team's head, and if you can push on, I think I think you've got the momentum with you, and usually you like to be mentally strong, and I like to see myself as someone who's quite mentally strong and on the pitch, and meet people in general. I think if you look at the Meath teams down the line, never beaten. They'll come back. They'll come back 6 7 points down, and that was a testament to the players at the time. And people used to hate playing Meath because of it. Even the 91 games, Meath come back again. Against Mayo in '96.
And of course, when we think back to the trilogy with Dublin, the goal that won the game in the end, how the defender, how he came to be in front of the goals.
But if you see the build-up to it, the amount of passes that were completed without losing the ball, and Kevin Foley to come up and stick it in the back of the net, it was one of the best goals that was probably ever scored in Croke Park. The way he's worked up, the timing of it, the whole saga of the 4 in a row in '91, it was great, and it was something that the GA obviously loved because it was creating this buzz. It was the first round of the championship, and unfortunately Meath actually went on to beat Meath in the final that year, so we'll use the 4 in a row as the excuse. We were tired.
Well, funny, I was just going to approach that, but yes, Down went on and won the All-Ireland. But Joe, we're looking at the time here, and I'm getting messages in the background here to wrap it up, but I'm enjoying it that much because it's not often we get a man of your ability to come down and talk to us here, because we're reaching out, and it's great that you're here. Really appreciate it. Just one of the hardest skills that you would think to master in Gaelic football, you've said here, kicking with your weak foot, and as a coach and as a person who would be coaching young lads, that is one of the things that has to be paramount.
Absolutely, and I think the top players at the minute are so natural with both feet. I think it should be probably started off. A lot of people just would use their stronger foot, but if you can even start from 6-year-olds, 8-year-olds, all the way up, start them using not just the weaker foot, the weaker hand. If you can use your left hand, right hand in different situations, it creates different options on the football pitch, and it just opens up your range of skill on the pitch. And it's great to see a young lad being able to kick with both feet, shoulder with both feet. And young girls as well. It's great. I'm involved with our club team, our club ladies team. We won the championship final last weekend, and I'm just doing a bit of coaching with them, and it's great. I have a girl now, she's 15 years of age, and I've never seen a girl with so much skill. She's unbelievable, and she can chip the ball, take frees off the ground. She's 15 years of age, and I'm looking like this girl is going to be a superstar. And to see this, and to see young people come up like that, it's great to see. And with the coaching and the amount of people, with the organisation, people give their time and they're down coaching every night of the week, and they get no
acknowledgement.
Exactly. And when you see these people come along, then you see all the work that's gone in, and it's brilliant. And the more we can get it, and the more people get involved on coaching underage and bringing these kids along, it's only going to help for the GA.
Oh, I mean, we would be huge supporters of ladies football here in Destiny St. Uri. Of course, next weekend, Armagh versus Waterford in the All-Ireland final, and of course, Armagh have some great players. Caroline O'Hanlon, she plays netball for Northern Ireland. She's a superstar, and I mean, you're talking about the skills that she can do, and not just herself, but Joe, like when we look round at ladies football, and you've just said it there, a 15-year-old girl who has all the ability in all the world. Isn't it wonderful? It's just absolutely wonderful.
Absolutely, and the ladies football, my two sisters play, Mary and Philomena, they've been on the Meath team. My mother's involved with the ladies, so we've been involved with ladies football as well, and it's brilliant, the coverage maybe they get is probably not enough. You know, if they can get it out there a wee bit more and give the ladies as much coverage as, and it probably won't get as much as the men now, but if they can get it up there and put it out there to everyone, you know, it just shows the skill that the ladies have as well, because they're a vital part to the GAA.
And of course, next week Armagh play, but in the senior final, Kerry and Cork is playing, and Gavin Corrigan from Down is refereeing that one. So
right.
you know, there's ties all over the place here. But Joe, just before we finish up here, I have to say it's been brilliant to have you here, Ryan. It's great to have you here along with Joe, because it's you know, to me it's classic, it's brilliant. Joe, who or what would your excluding Meath, your other favourite county?
I'd probably say Kerry. You know, I've always said it because the style of football they play. They never are maybe put out by other teams' style of play. You know, they'll always stick to the principles of playing football. They'll kick the ball, they'll kick points. You know, their ability, all the footballers are so natural on the ball. You look at Mark O'Shea, you look at Tomas O'Shea, you look at all the great Kerry teams that have come down through the years. You know, if you look at the greatest teams that people will name out, you know, 50% of them are probably going to be from Kerry, because they're just, I don't know what it is down there, they just build. And you know, people say that you need to have underage success, but Kerry haven't had that, but they can still bring out these unbelievable footballers, you know, like the Gooch, Declan O'Sullivan, you know, Brian Sheehan, all these players, and they just seem to pull them out every year. And you know, it's just great to see the way they play football. You know, it's so open, and it's so attacking minded. And you know, as a forward myself, you know, the more attacking football you see, the better. And Donegal even brought it on this year. You know, a lot of people are giving out about them last year for being so defensive, but this year they've opened up their attack. You know, they're scoring a lot, and you know, it's great to see, because the defensive style is sort of, I don't think it's great for the GAA, because it's sort of a negative effect, and people are giving out about it. And you know, it's not really open football. You're seeing 9-8 as a score at the end of the game, whereas you're looking to see the crowds are coming to the games, and you've got to give them your entertainment. And you know, if it's free-flowing football, they're going to enjoy it.
And of course, Joe, when we talk about Croke Park, you met a very special visitor to Croke Park last year, or this year. Yeah. You met the Queen? Met the Queen,
yeah. You know, there's some of the benefits of being involved with the GAA. I was lucky enough, myself, Kevin Nolan, Lara Corbett and Paudie Maher, we were asked to go up to meet the Queen in Croke Park, and I think it was an unbelievable day for the GAA, the way they put themselves across. You know, it was fantastic. You know, it was obviously a massive moment in Irish history, never mind the GAA history, but GAA are a focal point of it, and to be involved with it, it was fantastic. And I was just privileged to be involved with it, and I was lucky enough actually. Barack Obama was there the week after, and we got up to meet him as well. So you know, two of them in the 1 week was fantastic.
And of course, you're down here in Destination Uri this evening.
Exactly. So
you're meeting all the superstars.
Absolutely.
In relation to the Queen, did you talk to her? Did she speak to you, or what was the crack with the Queen?
Spoke with the goal actually. Mary McAleese, President Mary McAleese at the time, was there, and we were just down in the change room, just the four of us, and you had the Buckingham Palace security coming in, talking to us, telling what we were doing and what she'd be saying. And she spoke for us for about 5 or 10 minutes about the game. She was very interested in the hurling, the lads, how to use it, and actually talking about the shinty in Scotland and just comparing it to that. Mary McAleese spoke about the goal, and you know, it was a controversial goal back in 2010, and you know, at the time it was up there on, you know, a lot of people's tongues. But no, it was very nice to get to talk to them, and it was pretty laid back. We thought it'd be, you know, there'd be a lot of restrictions on what you could say, but no, it was very well done by the GAA, and it was great to be involved with it.
So you just created a wee bit of history there, Joe, meeting the Queen and Prince Philip.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So,
and of course you're making a little bit of history here tonight, because you're down at Destination Uri, and I know we've sort of run over the time, and Dara's sitting in the back and said, lads, it's time to wrap up your coverage here this evening. But we're really coming to the end here, Joe, because when you come down from Meath, we have to say we have to give you that wee bit more space, because when you go back to Meath, you're going to spread the word about Destination Uri. I know we're going around the world, but we're trying to get up in around Meath and all that, and it's brilliant to have you here. So I suppose, you know, this upcoming campaign, Joe, for next year, you know, new manager in place, where do you see Meath next year?
Consistency, I think, is the big thing for Meath. You know, it's and that starts from the management as well. You know, we've probably had 6 or 7 managers in the last 10 years and 10 or 11 years, and it's hard, you're bringing managers in, you're trying to get set up with new setups and different ways of management teams coming in, and you have to just get used to that. So if we can get consistent, like this year we played Wicklow, Carlow, we played Laois, Dublin and Kildare. We went out against Kildare and had a great performance, whereas we didn't play as well against Dublin. So we have to try and be consistent on every day we go out. That's what the top teams do, and if we can do that, it'll go a long way to, and hopefully, obviously get back to Division 2 football. We were unlucky, we got relegated to Division 3 last year, so we want to get back there as quick as possible. You've got to be playing at the top level in the league to be pushing for the championship.
So, Joe, I have to thank you for coming here this evening, and Ryan, I have to thank you for coming as well. I know you enjoyed the banter here with us. Yeah. But Joe, finally, what's happened with you off the field? I know you're involved in Twitter and you're on Facebook and all that. So it's a whole new, I suppose, demeanour or whatever you want to call it, away from everything. So I suppose Joe Sheridan on Twitter, SquareCut84 is your Twitter. So folks, if you want to follow Joe, just get on to SquareCut84 and it will definitely be good stuff. And then Joe, you check out Joe account at Manstuff. Joe, is that right? I'm just looking here, I'm reading here. Follow Joe Sheridan on Twitter, so
yep.
That's going to be good stuff.
Absolutely. Joe, try not to be too controversial.
Oh no, yeah. and we appreciate it. And of course, you can watch this tomorrow back up in Destination Uri. Joe Sheridan, I know you shook the Queen's hand, but I can tell you, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here on Destination Uri. Ryan, as usual, good friend of myself, good friend of Destination Uri here, and. Joe,
nice to meet you, Ryan.
Yeah, you too.
Just before we finish, we have to get another wee plug in, because this week, Joe, and I know you sort of talk about exposure from the social media and all that, but the start of something new. I did show it to you earlier on. Now, I think if we can get a little clip on it here. It's from the Gaelic Life this week, and maybe get you converted to Gaelic Life. It's an Ulster GA paper, and this week John Hughes from Armagh, he didn't know that we were covering live Armagh games, and he got on, and of course he brought us up and he gave us a good plug on it. So
that's brilliant.
It's good stuff, Joe. And what it proves that what Destination Uri are doing is the start of something big, and as he says, Destination Uri have shown the way and others will follow. I firmly believe in years to come we'll be looking back at the first broadcast from Morgan Athletic Grounds in Armagh and saying that was the start of something very special.
There you go.
Joe, you've been part of something very special here this evening. I thank you for coming down. Ryan, I thank you. Thank Dara in the background, Sean in the background, and Danny here for doing the cameras. We sort of overstayed our welcome by 25 minutes, Joe, but it's an opportunity not to be missed. We can get this again tomorrow on Destination Uri. Joe Sheridan, Meath legend, nice guy, friend of Destination Uri. Brilliant to have you here this evening. Appreciate you coming down, Joe. And if you get to the county final, who knows what could happen? We could be up in Navan, maybe broadcasting that live around the world.
Fingers crossed.
Hopefully, and of course we'll get back to you on that one. Ryan Cinnamon, always good to have you on board here. Ryan, we did have you down at the Park Ashler when this man carried the Olympic flame. Joe, just to let you know, when the flame come to Newry, Ryan carried the flame onto the stage in Newry. So
brilliant.
It just shows you what young people can do. Joe Sheridan, thanks very much. Ryan Cinnamon, absolute legend. Great to have you on board here this evening. Until next week, tune in and don't forget the live games next week on Destination Uri.
The Sunday show may not be on next week.
And the Sunday show may not be on next week because of the down matches, but it'll be back on the following Sunday. But keep watching, keep following us on Destination Uri. Thanks for tuning in and keeping with us this evening. It is now just after 8:25. We overstayed our slotted time, but brilliant to have you on board. So thanks a million. Until next week or the following week or whenever it may be. Good night, goodbye, and farewell.
Thank you.